incredible. Thank you, thank you. All right, everyone. I have an important question for you. After this lost liberal decade, with costs and crime up and our economy down and under America's thumb, do you think the Liberals deserve a fourth term? Very clear. It is time to put Canada first for a change with a new Conservative government that will axe taxes, build homes, unleash resources, stop crime, and bring home jobs to stand up to Trump from a position of strength. It's time. Absolutely. Common sense Canadians like you know we need change. They couldn't get on this land de changement. And the person to deliver that change? Pierre Poilievre. Here to tell you about the only man who can stop Mark Carney, I have the pleasure of introducing you to Anna Poilievre. Anna is an entrepreneur, a dedicated advocate against human trafficking, and a staunch supporter of women's empowerment. Born in Venezuela and raised in Montreal, Anna moved to Ottawa in 2006, where she met her future husband, Pierre Poilievre, in 2012. They married in 2017. An active member of the conservative movement, she is the driving force behind the Conservative March and Pierre's #1 supporter. In 2024, she launched Their Stories Matter, an online platform dedicated to giving a voice to survivors of human trafficking. Anna is committed to supporting women and elevating them through her online magazine, Pretty and Smart Co., and her Lead Her Forward initiative, which seeks to pay it forward by inspiring, connecting, and elevating women. But she will tell you that her greatest accomplishments and most important roles are being a supportive wife and the proud mother of Valentina and Cruz. Okay, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm island welcome to Anna Poilievre. Here we are in Canada, in a most crucial time where we must decide
leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. He has been traveling from coast to coast to coast to step away from the Ottawa bubble and elites so that he can listen to Canadians directly. Because what we need is a government for the people, by the people. Leadership is not born from the boardroom of the elite. Leadership is not born from fancy titles or degrees. Leadership is born from true love for our country, our children, strong and free. Now, my husband has been doing this for most of his life. He has been right here at home fighting for all of us. He's been fighting for our youth, our families, our seniors. Meanwhile, Mr. Carney, a man who seeks the highest public office, he looks down on those who have been here at home, telling us that my husband doesn't know how the world works. Well, I'll tell you what. He knows how Canada works and how to make Canada work for all of us. I obviously love and support of my husband's policies. I truly believe they're going to help all of us. But to truly understand the why, you need to understand the man behind all it all and the family standing by his side. My husband, he was born in Calgary from a teenage mother who gave him out for adoption to two school teachers from Saskatchewan. They worked really hard and they lived paycheck to paycheck in a humble house. Pierre fought for everything he had. Nothing has been given to him. I was born in Caracas, Venezuela. And my family migrated here in 1995 when I was 8 years old, in Montreal, in the east side of Montreal. 6 of us who lived in a small bedroom apartment, and a 3-bedroom apartment in the basement. And my father's first job when we got here was to pick up fruits and vegetables, and that's the only thing he could do to feed the family. Later on, he had 3 minimum wage jobs to make ends meet. By the time that I was 17, I had to move out of the house and become 100% financially independent. By the time that I was 19, I left Montreal, moved to Ottawa. I took a student loan, put myself through university, worked full-time at the same time so that I could pay for rent and food. By the time that I was 25, a few months before I met my husband, I was still a single woman, and I had saved enough money, $25,000, to put a down payment on a little town house I had 2 bedrooms. That was 2012, 3 years before the Liberal government took office. That was the Canadian promise we had in this country. If you work hard, you get ahead. And that is what we are fighting for, to restore the Canadian promise. So ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute pleasure to share with you my husband and the next Prime Minister.
Something to crowd. Jamie, have you seen a crowd like this before? The last time we got this many Islanders together for a political event. Look at this incredible conservative team. We have Natalie Jameson, Jamie Foxx, James Elward, and Logan McClellan here in Alberta. Jamie is a wise man. I'm not saying that he's old, I'm saying he's wise. So, you know, when I was a young man in my political career, speaking faster than thinking, getting into a little bit of trouble, I thought I'd give Jamie a call and sit down with him in his office, seek some counsel from someone with some extra wisdom. So he brought me into his office, he sat me down, and I told him my troubles. And he said, I think I have a solution for you. And he pointed up to a fish that he had caught. It's mounted on the wall. And he said, you see that fish up there? If he'd kept his mouth shut, he'd still be alive. I didn't listen to his advice. Anyway, have a seat, relax, make yourself at home. It's great to be in Atlantic Canada. Look who we have, the great Gail Shea. Blueberries. Well, they're going to the States. You sure about that? Now they're blueberries, at least they're the right color, eh? Well, we're very proud of Gail. We have an incredible history of fighting for Prince Edward Islanders. You know, the 4 silent Liberal MPs, where are they? Where are they? Witness Protection Program. You know, they've been in there for 10 years. They've been going around the island claiming they were going to get rid of the bridge tolls. Never got anything done. Now on the eve of the election, they're sprinting around begging for your vote. They voted for the carbon tax to hike it up for 7 years. Now they say on the eve of the election, oh, they're going to hide it from the gas pump for 28 days. To trick you into voting for them to bring it even higher. Happy April Fool's Day. And then I know we're all rightly very angry at the unjustifiable tariffs and trade barriers that the U.S. president is imposing on our country. What a betrayal that is. But isn't it even crazier that it was our own Liberal government that imposed a ban on the export of PEI potatoes to the U.S.? I've heard of foreign governments hitting Canada with tariffs. I've never heard of our own government hitting our own country. And we have the best, most ethical, responsible potato farmers in the world. Is he here? He's where? Oh, there he is over there, Alex. Alex is one of the most famous potato farmers around. He had me out to his farm. He made me a farmer for a day. People asked me if I was a good farmer that day. I said I was outstanding in my field. But Alex has been leading the charge, and you know, it has been a conservative MP from Alberta, MP Barlow, fighting for the potato farmers in PEI. We had 4 Canada First Conservative members of Parliament putting PEI first, fighting for our farmers, our fish harvesters, our workers, our islanders. It's just a symbol of everything that's gone around after the loss of Liberal decade. rising food prices, going up 37% faster in Canada than in the U.S. In fact, housing costs have doubled, rising more here in Canada than in any other G7 country. Our real estate is now the most expensive, as we have the fewest homes per capita of any country in the group of 7 nations, even though we have by far the most land to build on. An entire generation is blocked from the dream of homeownership after this lost liberal decade. Recently, crime, chaos, drugs, and disorder run rampant in our once tranquil and safe streets. We see despair in the faces of our young people who don't know how they will move forward with their plans to enjoy family and build equity in a future home. We have people giving up on the future of this country. And more than ever, we are reliant on the Americans because our very own government blocks the resources that they're in or around from coming to the service and getting off the market. My friends, the question of the election is very simple. After the lost liberal decade of costs and crime up and our economy down under Trump's thumb, are we going to give the Liberals a 4th term in power, or is it time to put Canada first for a change? We need a new conservative government that will put Canada first by axing taxes, building homes, unleashing our resources, and bringing home to Canada our jobs and production so that we can stand up to the Americans from a position of strength.
Des coûts qui sont élevés, une économie qui est en baisse et plus dépendante que jamais sur les Américains. Où est-ce qu'on a besoin de nouveaux gouvernements pour mettre le Canada d'abord, pour faire changement, en éliminant les taxes et les impôts, en récoltant nos ressources naturelles et en ramenant nos emplois ici pour qu'on puisse se tenir debout face à Donald Trump avec la force. The Liberals are voting. The Liberals have, what's that?
I agree with you on that. That's why I'm here. I wouldn't be here if I couldn't. But the Liberals are going to try to pull a fast one on you. They replaced Justin Trudeau with his longtime economic advisor and hand-picked successor. It's the same old Liberal gang, same Liberal ministers, same Liberal MPs, and same Liberal strategists making the same Liberal promises, and they will get exactly the same Liberal results. That's precisely why Donald Trump has endorsed Mark Carney. He understands that Carney will keep Canada weak. After 10 years of driving our resource, jobs, and hundreds of billions of dollars south, making us completely dependent on the Americans for the vast majority of our exports and all of our energy, and giving $500 billion of net investment to the Americans. That's Canadian money building American pipelines, American mines, American businesses for American workers. Donald Trump would like to continue that weakness as long as he can. And so on multiple times, even he has endorsed Mark Carney, whom he understands to be good for America, or at least vision of America, even though it's not good for Canada. Mr. Carney moved his headquarters from Canada to the United States just 6 days after Trump brought in his tariffs. He stashes his corporate cash in overseas Caribbean tax havens that allow him to pay low taxes while everyone else, single-owned small businesses and seniors, are stuck with the big fat liberal tax bill imposed over here. He has multiple conflicts of interest. It will allow foreign governments to exploit him and turn him against our own country. And just today, Mark Carney gave Donald Trump he announced that his government would keep in place the No New Pipelines Law C-69. Monsieur Carney a donné un grand cadeau à Donald Trump. M. Trump lui a déjà donné son support à M. Carney. M. Carney a dit qu'il va garder en place la loi C-69 anti-pépines, anti-ressources naturelles, ce qui va nous forcer de continuer de vendre nos ressources aux Américains au prix plat et enlever la richesse du Canada, nous rendons plus important. This bill, this law, blocks Canadian pipelines from ever being built. It basically bans the construction of pipelines. That's why we have to give literally 90% of all of our energy exports to the Americans, 100% of our natural gas. We can't get it to Tidewater to send it to Europe or Asia. In fact, you know that the energy we send from Western Canada to Quebec and Ontario has to go through American-fed pipelines and comes back into Canada, which means we're totally dependent on them even to sell our own energy to ourselves. And with today's news that Mr. Carney will keep that law in place, he will guarantee we will always have to beg the Americans to support our biggest export sector. My friends, that is a recipe that we have seen played out over the last decade. It is not change, it is more of the same, it is more weakness. What we need now is strength. We need to build pipelines, big pipelines. The idea is to reward those who build things, make things, move things, and create things. It starts with rewarding work. Income tax. Income tax is the fine you pay for the crime of working hard.
That's right.
It was great meeting the other day. I saw this kid was in the park with his dad. The kid had his hands buried, his head buried in his hands, falling his eyes out. He just was asking, what is an income tax for? And Dad said, well, it's just like your school report card, only the opposite. The harder you work, the worse you do. The more you pay, the more you pay. And as a result, it's no wonder that people might say, I'm not going to take that overtime shift. I'm not going to work hard to get that bonus or promotion. Because at the end of the day, the government's going to get it all. And that holds us all back. It punishes our hard work. Income taxes. This is a tax cut for waitresses and welders. It's a tax cut for the retired couple who are having to pull their income out of their RSP or their pension at high income tax rates. Paying less will allow them to have a more beautiful retirement. It is a tax cut for the struggling single mom who wonders how she can pay the bills and feed her kids. It is a tax cut that rewards work and allows you to bring more home. That's why we call it the bringing home tax cut. But we also have to cut taxes on energy. Energy powers our economy. It's necessary for our farmers who bring our beautiful potatoes out of the field for our fishery, for our industry that builds. Here we are, McDougall Steel. They make steel here, the steel that is literally the bones of our economic civilization. Over the last 7 years. Now, as I said, today, 28 days before the election, they hide it from the public. They expect you to be grateful that they're going to give you a temporary holiday from their the tax that they imposed on you in the first place, while they kept in place the carbon tax law, which will allow them to flip a switch the day after the election and reinstate the tax all over again. What's more is that they've kept the tax throughout this month and into the future rising on Canadian industry in the hopes that you won't notice, because of course they think that you just don't know that a steel company that pays a carbon tax will have to obviously pass it on to the automaker and therefore onto your car or onto the apartment complex that helps hold up that building, and then therefore in higher rent to the people, or in lower wages to the workers who work in the industrial sectors. Meanwhile, the Americans have no carbon tax whatsoever. So here we have it. While Trump is tariffing our heavy industry, Carney's hitting businesses with higher industrial taxes, which will force their production south of the border, making us yet more helpless and more reliant on the Americans. And so, I'm here today to say that a Canada First Conservative government will make a big change, and that is we will axe the tax for everyone, for everything, for real, for real. It is the trucks that our carpenters drive around, and the tools that are used in the assembly line, the materials, the CNC, the conveyor belts. All of that requires investment. In Canada today, we get about $15,000 of investment for every worker. In the States, it's $28,000. So the American, not both in US dollars. So the American worker is getting almost twice as much tools and technology accumulating. No wonder that in an hour worked, Americans generate 83 US dollars. In an hour worked here in Canada, it's 53 US dollars. So they're making more money faster even though we have better and smarter workers. That's because we have to cut taxes on investment. And that's why